Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a brutal dog attack in Dallas claims the life of a toddler. What we know this evening.
The death of a North Texas toddler is linked to fentanyl poisoning. Her father is accused of not calling 911 for help.
And we have an outlook on the November election, a closer look at Biden and Trump next.
We didn't see much of the sun today as the overcast hung in tight all day long. It's still on the overcast side, so it'll be like that till Saturday when we pick up a little rain chance. We'll be talking about that coming up.
And the St. Joseph Flyers have a new athletic director and football coach. I'll have that in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia. In El Campo, police arrested an Edna suspect Monday. 72-year-old Charles Abair is charged with aggravated sexual assault of a child. The charge goes back to January 2016. He is in the Wharton County Jail in lieu of a $150,000 bond.
U.S. Marshals arrested a suspect in Victoria Monday. 36-year-old Abraham Garamillo of Victoria faces an assault of a family member, impeding breath or circulation charge, along with a violation of parole. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $40,000 bond. Victoria County deputies arrested a suspect Monday. 30-year-old Santos Estrada is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $40,000 bond.
On Monday, April 8th, officers with the Victoria Police Department and the U.S. Marshals Service Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force went to the 31,000 block of Sam Houston Drive to carry out an arrest warrant. Authorities also executed a search warrant and arrested Madison Stallworth. The 22-year-old is charged with possession of marijuana, manufacture/delivery of a controlled substance, and abandoning or endangering a child. Stallworth was taken to the Victoria County Jail and has since bonded out. And now let's take a quick pause on your news and take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez.
Well, thank you very much. The overcast, boy, I tell you, it really hung on. I don't know if you see any rays of sun at all. It's actually all part of this big storm up here, but it's so far north that it's really not really bringing us any rain down in this area. The clouds basically are stuck beneath a very strong cap, and as a result, they're not going to be burning off much for the next few days. Now, the frontal system coming in over the weekend may actually give us some rain, and that's what we're going to take a closer look at coming up in just a minute. Back to you.
Mac, thank you. An investigation is underway after a toddler was viciously attacked to death by 3 large dogs in a Texas neighborhood on Monday. Police officers responded to the home on Limeleaf Lane shortly before 11 a.m. following reports of a small child being attacked by a dog. They arrived to find the toddler unresponsive with severe injuries. The 1-year-old boy was then rushed to the Children's Medical Center in Dallas, where he was later pronounced dead.
Our hearts go out to the family. There's no question this is a tragedy. It's important for all animal owners to ensure that their animals are confined, and if there's kids around, to ensure that there's some adult supervision around in case something like this were to happen.
The homeowner where the attack occurred was babysitting the child at the time of the attack. Now, the death of a North Texas toddler is being linked to fentanyl poisoning, and her father is accused of not calling 911 for help. Instead, they were seeking remedies on Google. In late February, Mansfield police responded to a report of an unconscious child. The father, Michael Reed, claims he woke up to his daughter struggling to breathe. They tried to induce vomiting before finally calling 911 2 hours later. The father is now charged with failing to call 911 and not securing fentanyl. The roommate, also present at the time, is charged for not calling 911 immediately.
Jury selection resumed Tuesday morning in the hush money criminal trial of former President Donald Trump. A panel of 12 New Yorkers and 6 alternates will ultimately be selected.
At the same time, President Joe Biden is in Pennsylvania selling voters on his economic plan.
Walking into the Manhattan courtroom Tuesday, former President Trump not mincing words.
This is a trial that should have never been brought.
Trump is accused of taking part in an illegal conspiracy to undermine the integrity of the 2016 election and an unlawful plan to suppress negative information, which prosecutors say includes a hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels to hide an affair.
Donald Trump has completely lost control of the situation in the courtroom. You're seeing this very palpable fear of a criminal defendant.
Trump has denied the affair and pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records.
I should be right now in Pennsylvania, in Florida, in many other states, North Carolina, Georgia, campaigning. This is all coming from the Biden White House because the guy can't put two sentences together. He can't campaign.
Yet President Biden did stop in Scranton, Pennsylvania Tuesday afternoon, the start of a 3-day campaign in the Keystone State. He zeroed in on how his tax policy differs from Trump's.
When I look at the economy, I don't see it through the eyes of Mar-a-Lago. I see it through the eyes of Scranton, and that's not hyperbole. That's a fact. Where honesty and decency matter.
The president will travel to Pittsburgh Wednesday and Philadelphia on Thursday, where he'll continue pushing his economic plan.
No billionaire should pay a lower tax rate than a teacher, a nurse, a sanitation worker.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
ERCOT warns Texans of concerns about the state's electric grid. ERCOT says Texans could soon face energy conservation. ERCOT warned it might not have enough power reserves today and tomorrow as temperatures heat up this week. Rising temperatures could lead to an increased power demand during a time when maintenance is occurring. That could lead to a power emergency. To ensure enough power, ERCOT could cancel several planned maintenance outages at plants across Texas. The Supreme Court heard arguments Tuesday from a former Pennsylvania police officer who stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. Joseph Fisher's case could potentially undermine federal charges against hundreds of rioters. The High Court's decision could also have big ramifications for former President Trump. That's because he was charged with the same criminal offense. The Supreme Court will consider whether the interpretation of the law by prosecutors can be used against the rioters.
April is Limb Loss Awareness Month. Recently, the PAM Health Victoria hosted a meeting to support people dealing with limb loss. Guest speaker Yvonne Lanes is a bilateral above-knee amputee. She gave critical advice and a powerful message to inspire the group.
Be yourself and to be happy with yourself. And also, as an amputee, there's many challenges we face because we have lost a limb or two limbs or sometimes even three, sometimes even four. What's important is that you set goals for yourself. You can be happy in your heart because you haven't changed. Your appearance may have changed a bit, but you are still the same beautiful person you always were.
The amputation support group gets together to discuss a way to overcome their losses. Newcomers are always welcome to attend. Now a reminder, North Street will close between Lawrence Street and George Street from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 Wednesday and Thursday. The closure is so that utilities can be installed. All homes and businesses in the area will remain accessible. The closures are part of the Lawrence Street water line replacement project. Now, the city of Victoria is in the process of improving streets in the city.
But some residents here say the process is not going fast enough. Residents in the Juan Lynn Pleasant Green Drive area of South Victoria say they still drive around potholes and down the center of the road to avoid the potholes. 25 News Now has reached out to the City of Victoria's Public Works and will continue to monitor this story for updates. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. Stay with us. House Speaker Mike Johnson hopes to pass 4 separate bills. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, we take a closer look at a possible TikTok ban and foreign aid package.
Also ahead, book bans across the U.S. are at an all-time high. Find out how many books were banned in Texas next.
Hi, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs with the Victoria Police Department. Victoria Crime Stoppers is seeking information about a deadly conduct. On January 6, 2024, shots were fired in the area at 3700 Hanselman Road. A house and vehicles were struck by gunfire. If you have any information about this deadly conduct, please call Victoria Crime Stoppers at 361-572-4200. You can also submit a tip by using the P3 Tip app on your Android or Apple device, or by visiting our website at www.crimestoppersvictoria.com. All tips are anonymous, and if you give information that leads to an arrest or charges being filed, you could earn a cash reward. With Victoria Crime Stoppers, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs.
Colin Allred's fundraising for his U.S. Senate race tops Beto O'Rourke's early 2018 pace. The Texas Tribune reports the congressman raised over $9.5 million for his U.S. Senate campaign this quarter. That beats O'Rourke's 2018 first quarter sum of $6.7 million. That also tops the campaign of Allred's rival, Republican Senator Ted Cruz. The Federal Election Commission reports Cruz raised over $6.9 million from his official campaign this past quarter. President Biden's latest plan for student loan cancellation is moving forward as a proposed regulation. The new plan uses a different legal basis and seeks to cancel or reduce loans for more than 25 million Americans. The plan would eliminate up to $20,000 in interest for borrowers who owe more than they originally borrowed. Those with annual incomes below $120,000 and enrolled in income-driven repayment plans would get all their interest erased. It would be done automatically.
Book banning is on the rise at schools across the U.S. A new report shows 4,300 instances of book bans during the first half of this school year. That's already more than the entire 2022 to 2023 school year, which had 3,300 book bans. Florida topped the list with 3,100 book bans in 11 school districts. It was followed by Wisconsin with 481 bans, Iowa with 142 bans, and Texas with 141 bans. The report was complied by PEN America, a century-old free expression advocacy group. PEN America says books that discuss sex, abortion, or rape are among the most censored. Other books include narratives about race, racism, and LGBTQ themes. So here is your viewer poll. You can scan that QR code right there on your screen to vote. The question is, has your child's school or community library banned any books? Yes or no? According to our results, it looks like 22% stand at yes and the remaining 78% stand at no. Thank you for voting. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 10.
A new bill to ban TikTok could be up for a House vote this week. This time, the ban is tucked into a set of 4 separate bills.
They address Democrat foreign aid priorities that could make the ban harder for the Senate to ignore.
Won't be voting on the Senate supplemental.
Instead, House Speaker Mike Johnson says he hopes to pass 4 separate bills this week. 3 have aid for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Sources say the 4th includes a ban on TikTok.
That has some of the things with regard to the loan lease option and the Repo Act and some other sanctions on Iran and other measures that we've been talking about here for quite some time.
The Senate has yet to take up a different TikTok bill. The House passed with strong bipartisan support last month. It would ban the platform from U.S. app stores unless it spun off from its Chinese parent company. Supporters of that measure say TikTok is a national security risk.
We cannot rule out that the CCP could use it.
TikTok says about 170 million Americans use the platform. Banning it faces opposition.
You are voting against my small business. You are voting against me getting a slice of my American pie.
This is where
entertainment happens. This is where the commentary and analysis of entertainment world happens. This is where education happens.
The House bills could hold some appeal for Democrats. They've been trying to pass foreign aid for months. But the White House prefers a Senate package that does not ban TikTok.
What we want to see is that bipartisan national security supplemental that passed overwhelmingly 70-29 in the Senate.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
A Florida family whose roof was hit by an object falling from the sky last month now knows what that object was. It was a piece of hardware from the International Space Station that should have burned up during re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. The debris was a metal object weighing about 2 pounds. It was released by NASA in March of 2021, part of about 5,800 pounds of debris that was cast off into space. NASA says it's doing analysis to help prevent such occurrences on Earth ever again.
It's surprising more of that stuff doesn't happen, but I'm glad the atmosphere is there to sort of burn that up before it arrives. Well, folks, the atmosphere didn't give us much sun today. We were quite cloudy. Temperature right now running at 78 degrees. Our east wind, of course, continues to be fairly strong. We managed to get up to 82, which is just one above where we're supposed to be this time of year. I like to be where we're supposed to be this time of year because once the sun clears up, it's going to get warm. But we do have a front coming in on Saturday with some rain. We'll talk about that after this. Well, good evening, everybody. As we mentioned, the clouds were out there, but didn't give us any rain. But I've got a very impressive, in fact, rather stunning video. This is in Dubai, which is in the United Arab Emirates. The government of UAE has been seeding the clouds in the Gulf of, on the Saudi Peninsula, and apparently they were successful at creating rain. In fact, they created so much rain that the country's underwater today, and that's why seeding clouds is so, look at that, aircraft on, this is the tarmac of the airport, it's literally all underwater. They had about 4 to 5 inches of rain out of the seeding experiment, and now they've had 18 people drowned in all this activity. This is all of the peninsula that is now getting more rain than they usually get in a year. And so that's why seeding is very controversial. We know what it takes to get the clouds to coalesce and give rain. Problem is you can't control them once they take off. And here's a perfect example of that. So of all places, the deserts of the Mideast, they're having massive rainfall right now. You'll hear about that on the network news. I'm sure it's going to be a big story. For us, the cloud deck just sort of hung tough all day long. That's okay. It kept our temperature, in the low 80s. Without the sun, we'd be like Del Rio and Laredo into the 90s. So it was okay for us. Now, this is taps into the moisture, which is actually going up into this big storm. This is the one that was in Colorado, now rolling up to the higher plains. But as you can see, it's moving away from us, so it's not causing much. In terms of precipitation, Doppler is sensitive enough, the Doppler radar is sensitive enough to pick up a little moisture in the middle of the clouds, but I doubt that it's actually hitting the ground. All the big stuff tonight is happening in Missouri, where they're getting massive thunderstorms all the way down into Arkansas, rolling through the Midwestern plains. Now we're looking at 86 for tomorrow, 85 in Houston, 87 in San Antonio, and like I mentioned, the mid-90s out along the Rio Grande. And we're actually going to warm up just a little bit more, which is going to be interesting, because if the cloud deck does break, we'll really pop into some warm temperatures. All of this moisture, of course, still over us. This is Future Tracker, as you can see, into tomorrow. Big cloud deck all over East Texas, Central Texas, and South Texas. It's only far West Texas that has any sun, but that's okay. They're probably going to be looking at some rather hot temperature. We've got a few thunder showers in the western areas right here, basically the Panhandle on down, that may pop a thunder shower somewhere middle of the week. But the next rain chance for us is not till about Saturday, when a frontal system actually rolls through. Let's take a look at that. This is tonight. You can see that storm rolling east with the front sort of sagging there. But this is another quick, fast-moving system. It's going to be dropping down, and as we get into Friday, actually Saturday, it will go over the state and produce a pretty good chance for some shower activity on Saturday. I know it's the weekend. I had plans too. Cloudy skies, about 80 degrees tomorrow. It's okay. The sun doesn't come out, but we're going to be overcast, getting up to about 85 in Cuero. We're going to stay like that until Saturday. That's when things get mixed around, and we get a rain chance on Saturday, decreasing by Sunday morning. That is and we do have a little bit cooler weather for the early part of next week. We do have a QR code. Please scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Karina.
Thank you, Mac. And now here's Zach Brown with your sports.
We got a new head coach and a familiar face for some of St. Joseph. I'll have that in sports. St. Joseph Flyers have found a new coach and athletic director, and he's no stranger to the area. They are going with Jacob Vasquez. He is a 2001 graduate of St. Joseph High School. Vasquez had been at Concordia Lutheran High School in Tomball, Texas for the past 17 years. And since that 2007 season, the Crusaders have not missed the postseason once and were state runner-ups in 2011. He has been the offensive coordinator of Concordia since 2013. He will take over duties as the track coach as well, where he excels. His girls in Tomball won state for 4 consecutive years, and his boys went back-to-back in 2017 and 18. Day 2 of the boys' regional golf tournament, and some athletes looking to gain ground after round 1 yesterday. And this isn't quite an area school, but out of Wimberley, Jackson Donaldson finishes far ahead of the pack, shooting a -14 for the 2 days. He is the reigning 2-time state champion for a reason. As for athletes in the Crossroads region, James Dorotic tied for 15th, shoots a +11. Calhoun's Josiah Campos finishes tied for 32 with a +22, and Cuero's Tyler Grogan tied for number 64, shooting +33. We've got some softball rankings in the area. We've got 4 teams that have made the state rankings. In Class 2A, your number 1 ranked Scheider Lady Comanches sit at 19-2 on the year, just won a district title for the first time since 2019. In that same district, coming in at number 22, that is the Ganado Maidens. Ganado was ranked in the top 10 just a few weeks back. They have lost a few tough ones, including to Shiner. In Class 3A, the Hallettsville girls ranked at number 2 as they hope to make another run at a state title after getting upset in the playoffs last year. And in Class 4A, we have the Cuero girls, who have pretty much stayed put at number 4 all year long with a record of 26-1. Although they are district champs, they have one more game tonight before the postseason begins. A potential future NBA Hall of Famer is hanging up his shoes. We're talking about Blake Griffin, who has announced that he is retiring after 14 seasons in the NBA. He is a 6-time NBA All-Star, also won the slam dunk contest in 2011. Blake Griffin, drafted number 1 overall in 2009 out of the great University of Oklahoma, where his number 23 hangs in the rafters at the Lloyd Noble Center. He last played for the Celtics back in 2022 and 2023. Baseball Hall of Fame manager Whitey Herzog has died at the age of 92. Herzog led the St. Louis Cardinals to the World Series 3 times, clinching the title in 1982. He led the Redbirds to a total of 822 wins, the 3rd most victories in franchise history. During his stint across the state in Kansas City, the Royals won 3 consecutive American League West Division titles under his leadership, and in 2010, he was inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. According to a statement from the Herzog family on Tuesday, he died peacefully, surrounded by his loved ones. Herzog is survived by his wife, Mary Lou, of 71 years. That is it for your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Zach. We're back in a moment. The Greek leg of the torch relay kicked off in ancient Olympia after the torch was lit for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games.
And finally tonight, the Olympic torch relay for the 2024 Paris Games kicked off in Greece today. After an 11-day relay across Greece, the flame will be officially handed over to Paris Games organizers in Athens Stadium. Now, the Olympic flame will then head to the Mediterranean port city of Marseille before the French leg of the relay begins. 68 days later, the relay will end with the lighting of the Olympic flame at the Games opening ceremony on July 26th. We are that close to another Summer Olympics. It feels like the last one was only 3 years ago, which it was, because they had to move it to 2021 in Tokyo because of the pandemic. But
that is crazy.
And now you see that torch lighting, and it really lets you know we're getting close.
They did the Tokyo without an audience, right?
There were scattered fans.
Like
yeah.
only immediate family or something like that,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
Yes.
with no real
What a crazy
fans.
time.
Yeah.
It was.
Crazy.
Sure.
It was a terrible time.
Yeah, it was.
All that. Well, folks, we've got more clouds coming in next few days. We're going to stay overcast. That's all right. It keeps our temperatures in the lower 80s. We are looking for a chance for a little rain on Saturday when that little front comes through, and that will knock the temperature down back into the 70s, which would be very nice.
All right, it's nice to have those and enjoy those, folks, because we're getting close to the time when it won't be in the 70s.
Somebody will flip the switch.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you, Mac, and thanks for joining us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.